In the next hour or so, testimony continues this morning in the sex trafficking and racketeering trial of Sean Diddy Combs. On Monday, the jury was shown explicit video clips of the freak-offs, which are at the heart of this case. This after the judge dismissed one of the jurors over inconsistencies in his answers about where he lives. Combs has pleaded not guilty to all charges against him. CBS News national correspondent Jericka Duncan has been in the courthouse reporting extensively on this trial and joins us now with more. Good morning to you, Jericka. I'm curious what the jury's reaction was to that graphic video shown in court and why it was necessary, I guess, according to the prosecution, to show that video.
Well, it's proof. And I think in a case like this, when you're talking about somebody that's facing up to life in prison, you want to be sure, and at the end of the day, the prosecution has the burden of proof to try and find Combs guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. So it was important for them to see, even if it was 30-second clips, which is about what they saw yesterday. And remember, they had seen some still photographs of certain things prior to this, but this was the first time that they actually heard and saw video of one of these alleged freak-offs where Cassie Ventura had testified she had to have sex with male entertainers, sex workers, and Combs would watch. So we noticed, or I noticed, I should say, that the jurors were just focused on their screens. I didn't see anybody reacting. I know a couple of other publications, the New York Times, the AP, reported that one person winced and another person actually took the headphones off. I did not see that from my vantage point, but I think even the defense was studying how the jurors were taking in that information, because I'm imagining it would be uncomfortable to watch something like that. But at the very start of this case, that was something that the judge let these potential jurors at that time know that they might be privy to. So this was the first time, here we are in week 6 of this trial, where those jurors did see some of the graphic images from those alleged freak-offs. Yeah,
and I guess to your point, the jury has heard testimony from ex-girlfriends, graphic testimony. They've heard testimony from people who facilitated the allegations against Combs, and now they've seen this video. So what can we expect in court today?
And Errol, if I could really quickly on that point, the defense said that this would actually show that the sex was consensual. So they're leaning on the video as a way to say, see, nobody was forced. Again, we cannot see that. That was only something that the jurors were privy to, as well as the attorneys.
And so what happens today?
I think I just missed your question there. Say that one more time, Errol. I apologize.
Just in the last few seconds, Jericka, what will we hear today?
So what we will hear today, more summary testimony where they're outlining the graphs, the charts that we spoke of yesterday, where there are locations, dates, names, flight records of people who were possibly involved in these alleged freak-offs or hotel nights, as Jane testified to last week. And we're also expected to hear from another former assistant of Sean Combs. The prosecution says they could wrap up their case as early as Wednesday, but could be Friday, and then the defense will call their witnesses. The first one that we're hearing from the defense would be a former vice president of Bad Boy Entertainment.
Wow, remarkable trial so far, Jericka, across all of it. Jericka Duncan, thanks so much.